Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 science fiction action film Out of Time. A film that is written and directed by Matt Handy and it stars Nadine August, Blake Boyd, Kurt Long, Gary Fredo and David Schroeder. Now this science fiction film focuses on three aliens that in the 1950s managed to jump into a portal that brings them into the present day. They've got one plan in mind and one plan only, and they can body swap with anybody that they want, take over their body just by touching their heads. So they're seeking out the best bodies that they can find to fulfill their mission, and their mission is simply this: to get in touch with their own kind so that they can come and take over the planet. Now, just as they jumped through this portal in the 50s, there was a military guy in the 50s that jumped through the portal after them to try and stop them. So in the present day, he is impersonating an FBI officer, and he works with a modern day police officer, Lisa, played by Nadine August. They team up, try and track down these aliens to stop their dastardly plan. What are my thoughts on Out of Time? Well, I'll be really honest here, guys. I kind of like this one. This for me was a fine example of what you could do with a low budget film. It didn't extend itself too greatly. It was clever in its casting for a start. Okay, what we've got here is everybody in this film is able to do their job to a decent standard here. It makes it really watchable. And some of the more leading actors, and by that I mean Nadine August and Blake Boyd, they've got some good chemistry, they work well together, and they lead this film particularly well. Both play fairly believable characters, and it was a pleasure to watch them doing their jobs. The writing is simple but effective. It's not overly complex, it's not overly convoluted in regards to its plot. It's stuck within, its believability, and it doesn't give you mountains of really cheap, tacky, low-budget CGI effects. It's clever in its approach to filmmaking here. It knows that it doesn't have a big budget, so what's the best way of, making these aliens believable without, putting really poor effects up on the board? Well, you make them look like humans who can transfer bodies by touching people's heads, and then you get like this weird effect where you can see them transferring their consciousness into this other host, if you like. It was a clever way to do it, and you just don't see enough of this in low budget films. You see low budget films, they overextend themselves with the budgets, and then they'll try and shove in an overly convoluted and complex plot to try and keep you on your toes and thinking, and they just end up being garbage because of it. And this film does it completely the other end of the scale. It knows it doesn't have a big budget, it's smart in how it uses the budget, and it's some very simple but effective writing and some very simple but effective performances in the film, and that's all it takes for you to sit and enjoy a movie. Now, don't get me wrong, this film is not going to win any awards for Science Fiction Film of the Year. It's not going to win any awards, for anything really. But it makes a pleasant change to sit down and look at a low-budget film or watch a low-budget film and be entertained by it. And this one did it. And I have to say, the start of the film didn't impress me. The first 5 or 10 minutes of the film, I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this film. I'm just not going to enjoy it. I could sense it. I could feel it. It felt cheap initially. But until the primary characters were introduced, Lisa and Cooper, who were the two main characters here, chasing down these aliens. Once that relationship was established, and once the simplicity of the story was established, which essentially is a chase movie, chase these three aliens down before they fulfill their, dastardly plan. It worked, and you could see the chemistry building up between these characters slowly throughout the film. It even managed to put in some real-life relationship dynamics for the Lisa character, who finds her, I think it was her fiance, at the beginning of the film cheating on her, and he's also a police detective, so you've got that dynamic going on in the film. It doesn't add a lot to the film, but it made the Lisa character a little bit more believable. It made her character feel more grounded and more connected to reality, so therefore you had more of a connection to her. To improve the film, I think they could have made these alien characters a little bit darker and more sinister. They just kind of, depending on who they jumped into, some of those performances were better than others, if you like. We were playing these aliens. I think they could maybe have done a little bit, something a bit more threatening with the aliens. They just kind of felt a little bit disjointed, didn't really have very much of a plan, and they were just kind of fumbling their way around the city. So that would have helped as well. I mean, and also when this Cooper character explained who he was, where he was from, and these aliens that he's tracking down, when he explains it all to Lisa, she was a little bit too accepting, a little bit too quickly. You know what I mean? I would have been a bit like, yeah, go on, get out, I don't believe you. But these are minor niggles, really, with what I actually found out to be a really entertaining film, and and like I've said, it's a real blessing sometimes, because I watch a lot of low budget films, a lot of B movies, a lot of low budget films, a lot of no budget films sometimes, and this to me was a reminder and reinforced the message I'm always saying to these guys that are making these films: stop making them overly complicated and stop jamming horrible CGI effects in there if they're just not going to work, because it's just going to cheapen your film. And this was very smart in its approach to filmmaking, this one, so I found it quite entertaining. So I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. Check it out if you guys like very simple sci-fi adventure stories. Nothing special, but it is certainly watchable. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back with another review on Screenstars very, very soon.